dirt sticks no matter the climate. He sounded like a Shakespearean actor instead of a plumber from rural Georgia. By the time she had formed a response, he was already inside the garage. Sara stood on the porch as her father came back out with the requisite supplies to wash her car. He hitched up his sweatpants as he knelt to fill the bucket with water. Sara recognized the pants from high school. Her high school. She had worn them for track practice. "You just gonna stand there letting the cold in?" Kathy asked, pulling Sara inside and closing the door. Sara bent down so that her mother could kiss her on the cheek. Much to Sara's dismay, she had been a good foot taller than her mother since the 5th grade, while Tessa, Sara's younger sister, had inherited their mother's petite build, blonde hair, and effortless poise. Sara looked like a neighbor's child who had come for lunch one afternoon and decided to stay. Kathy bent down to pick up some of the grocery bags, then seemed to think better of it. "Get these, will you?" Sara scooped all 8 bags into her hands, risking her fingers again. "What's wrong?" she asked, thinking her mother looked a little under the weather. "Isabella," Kathy answered, and Sara suppressed a laugh. Her Aunt Bella was the only person Sara knew who traveled with her own stock of liquor. "Rum?" Kathy whispered, "Tequila," the same way she might say, "cancer." Sara cringed in sympathy. "Has she said how long she's staying?" "Not yet," Kathy replied. Bella hated Grant County and had not visited since Tessa was born. 2 days ago, she had shown up with 3 suitcases in the back of her convertible Mercedes and no explanations. Normally, Bella would not have been able to get away with any sort of secrecy, but in keeping with the new don't ask, don't tell ethos of the Linton family, no one had pressed her for an explanation. So much had changed since Tessa was attacked last year. They were all still shell-shocked, though no one seemed to want to talk about it. In a split second, Tessa's assailant had altered not just Tessa, but the entire family. Sara often wondered if any of them would ever fully recover. Sara asked, "Why was the door locked?" "Must have been Tessa," Kathy said, and for just a moment her eyes watered. "Mama, go on in," Kathy interrupted, indicating the kitchen. "I'll be there in a minute." Sara shifted the bags and walked down the hallway, glancing at the pictures that lined the walls. No one could go from the front door to the back without getting a pictorial view of the Linton girls' formative years. Tessa, of course, looked beautiful and slim in most of them. Sara was never so lucky. There was a particularly hideous photo of Sara in summer camp back in the 8th grade that she would have ripped off the wall if her mother had let her get away with it. Sara stood in a boat wearing a bathing suit that looked like a piece of black construction paper pinned to her bony shoulders. Freckles had broken out along her nose, giving her skin a less than pleasing orange cast. Her red hair had dried in the sun and looked like a clown afro. "Darling!" Bella enthused, throwing her arms wide as Sara entered the kitchen. "Look at you!" she said, as if this was a compliment. Sara knew full well she wasn't at her best. She had rolled out of bed an hour ago and not even bothered to comb her hair. Being her father's daughter, the shirt she wore was the one she had slept in, and her sweatpants from the track team in college were only slightly less vintage. Bella, by contrast, was wearing a silky blue dress that had probably cost a fortune. Diamond earrings sparkled in her ears, the many rings she wore on her fingers glinting in the sun streaming through the kitchen windows. As usual, her makeup and hair were perfect, and she looked gorgeous even at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Sara said, "I'm sorry I haven't been by earlier." "Feh." Her aunt waved off the apology as she sat down. "Since when do you do your mama's shopping?" "Since she's been stuck at home entertaining you for the last 2 days."